Welcome, YouTubers. I'm Jack Neary. This is Shot of Jack. I'm gonna be talking about the Kentucky Derby. Right, it's a big race we have going on tomorrow. It'll post time is 6:50. Right, so that's when you have to have your bets in by. And that's what we're talking about today. I want to talk about the fact that you know not every bet's a good bet. Okay, long shots are fun, but they don't necessarily come in. Right, everybody wants to bet their long shot or their favorite name. Right, but that's not what we're trying to win you guys money tomorrow. So let's talk about money. Okay, we're going to go over each horse and we're going to go over what their strengths are and what they can actually accomplish in this race. Okay, couple things to go over. Omaha Beach was scratched from the race earlier this week. He had a breathing issue and he was the favorite. Once the favorite goes down, that's when the scrambling begins. Okay. An interesting note is that Mike Smith was going to ride on Roadster. Okay, he found out that Omaha Beach was a better horse. So he's the best jockey. He picks the best horse, and he was going to ride on Omaha Beach. He's not riding on Omaha Beach anymore because he was scratched because he has a breathing issue in his throat. So, does that make Roadster our new favorite for the Kentucky Derby? It doesn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Kentucky Derby track tomorrow is going to be super sloppy. Okay, they're talking about potential flooding, right? They're talking about possibly moving to the turf track. Now, if they do move to the turf track, which has hardly ever been done, okay, I believe once in history they got away from the mud and the slop and they moved over to the turf. Then Roadster has the best opportunity to win. Because Roadster initially he was a turf horse. And if it was a fast track, he's probably the fastest horse. But it's not going to set up that way. He's not going to be on a nice track at all. It's going to be 100% slop and mud. So we're going to go down the list here, and we're going to discuss the horses that have done well in the mud. Because there's no reason to discuss the whole field if you haven't done well on mud tracks. It's silly, right? It's an exercise in futility. Why even do it? Why talk about the whole race when we can get it easily out of the way which ones don't perform well in the mud? So here we go. We're going to start right on the rail. War of Will broke his maiden at Kentucky Oaks in the mud. Okay, he can run sloppy. Okay, he's a long shot, but he can run. He's a long shot with the actual possibility. Okay, War of Will, if he can get off the rail, I don't know if he can. Obviously, that's going to be his jockey's main concern is getting him off the rail. If he can get a quick enough start, not exert enough energy, he can run in the mud, which is important. If he gets off the gate well and he gets off the rail, he'll be just fine because he can maneuver. He knows the elements well, and that's a big deal with animals. You're dealing with a jockey, and you're dealing with which we're mammals on top of a horse, so you have to be able to read each other perfectly. And War of Will is not going to have a huge amount of room for error. Okay, being right on the rail there. So we're gonna move on. Next one, Tax. Right, he's off the rail. He's never run in mud. I scratch him just based on that. Like, if you haven't done something before, right, and you're going to be doing it for your first time, right, anything, you're going to be trying something for your first time, in different circumstances, right? Like, it's not his first race, but it's a different, you have the weather elements you have to figure in. So I have Tax scratched. I don't think he does well at all. Next up, you've got by my standards. By my standards. He was beaten badly on a sloppy track. Well, that's what we have tomorrow is a sloppy track. So I could just assume that you're going to be beaten badly again. Next up, we have the Gray Magician, who's 50-1. His odds didn't change once the other horse went down. I don't think he's anything. I wrote down no information. I'm not going to waste your time on a horse that doesn't have a chance to win. I know all of them all of these horses have great chances to win because they're in the Derby. That's not exactly true. Okay. Gray Magician, no chance. Don't bet him. Okay. Don't bet him at all. That leads us to Improbable, which is the first Bob Baffert trained horse that we come across in this Derby. He took second to Omaha Beach in the Arkansas Derby by a length on a sloppy track. Okay, Arkansas Derby is one of the Grade 1 races, very good competition, and he looked excellent on that track. Improbable is a serious contender. The only issue with Improbable is he's a horse that doesn't listen very well. And he doesn't like getting into the gate. He had blinder issues, so I don't know if it was the other horses spooking him or just the close parameters getting ready for the race. I'm not sure which one it is, but he doesn't listen the best. Now, maybe he's the type of horse that gets bored. You know, all animals get bored. Maybe he gets bored when it's a nice sunny day, it's sloppy, and now he wants to show how good he is. That's another possibility. I'm not saying that's truthfully the way it's going to be, but Improbable is a serious contender. So War of Wills right now, right? If you're looking at what that's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 horses. Out of 5 horses, you've got a long shot and a real contender. And that's what you have to do in a race like the Kentucky Derby, where there's going to be, there was 2 scratches out of 20 horses. So you've got 18 total horses now. You got to start breaking down how you think the race is going to turn out. Up next, you have Vekoma. Vekoma's a fast track horse. Scratch. There's not much I could do for if it was going to be a fast track tomorrow, which it's not going to be. You know, and you're going to have a lot of people placing bets at the ticket window, not knowing how bad the track is and what it's going to look like. It's going to be a mess. Okay, and you're going to have people worried about rain possibly during the event. You know, I don't want to have to worry about these things. I want to have the right horse for that kind of track. So for me, Vekoma's a scratch. Up next, we have Maximum Security. He's a horse that's undefeated. He runs well in the mud. You know, he won by 6 lengths on a sloppy track. He just won that. He was down in the Florida Derby. He won wire to wire. He's by far the most impressive. He might be the most impressive horse in the whole Derby. Okay, he's certainly the most impressive horse besides the Bob Baffert trained trio that we'll talk about later on. Maximum Security is a serious contender. Okay, so that takes us what? That takes us to 2 more. That takes us what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of 7 horses, we have 2 serious contenders and a long shot, and our long shot's on the rail. See how we're breaking this down? I want to break this down for everybody because I don't want you to go to the ticket window tomorrow thinking that everybody can win because they can't. So let's continue through the field. We're going to continue through the field because I want you guys to win money. Right? That's what we watch sports for competition. We also like to win money, right? Let's continue. Up next, I have Tacitus. Okay, he won the Wood Memorial. He's a big horse. He's got excellent breeding. He's a late closer. Okay, so he's not a speed guy, and he's not necessarily middle of the pack guy. But he at the end of races, he kicks very well. He's a big horse. The mud isn't going to bother him. So the mud's not going to bother him. He does well on poor tracks, and he's a big horse. I like a big Derby horse. Okay, and for the reasons why you're going to deal with a lot of bumping, a lot of moving around. And if you're going to have to deal with elements on top of that, I can't have a tiny horse. I need to have a big guy with shoulders who could deal with the bumping and continue straight ahead. That's the type of horse that I bet on, you know? So I like Tacitus. Okay, he's another serious contender. Up next, we have Plus Q Parfait. He's got absolutely no chance. Okay, that's another one that's just scratched. Okay, Blue Coop Parfait has no chance to win the Derby. He's not even a long shot for me. He doesn't even sound like. Does he even sound like a tough horse? Like he's got to battle against other horses, right? Can you picture that name in the paper on Sunday morning? Blue Coop Parfait wins Kentucky Derby. Maybe if it was a French race, I can't see it happening. So for me, Blue Coop, you're gone. Up next, we have Cutting Humor. And you would think that Cutting Humor, because Mike Smith is now a jockey that's back in the race, and he's riding Cutting Humor. But the fact of the matter is that was the only jockey that was going to give up a horse. Okay, so the jockey that was on Cutting Humor before was like, hey, Mike Smith, the horse that you picked bowed out. Okay, he was unable to perform a healthy race in Omaha Beach. And you were on Roadster to begin with. You're no longer on Omaha Beach, and the jockey for Roadster wouldn't give up his spot. The only jockey that would give up a spot for Mike Smith was Cutting Humor's jockey. And that's why Cutting Humor has no chance to win. Mike Smith is an excellent jockey, don't get me wrong. But the fact that you would give up your spot just so that another guy would race, you don't believe that horse can win. Because if you believe the horse can win, you could win a lot of money as a jockey. But you don't win a lot of money if your horse doesn't have a chance to win, place, or show, or hit that board. Cutting Humor's also a smaller horse. Go on Kentucky Derby, .com and all these places and look at pictures of him. He's a smaller horse. He's a good-looking horse, but he's going to get bounced around. Cutting Humor has no chance. Let's move on. The next horse, a Kyle, was scratched. He was scratched early Friday morning. So you have Code of Honor. Never run on slop. I have to scratch you. Like if you've never played in those kind of elements, I have to scratch you. This is a big stakes horse race. It's the biggest horse race of the year, besides maybe the Belmont, if your horse has won the Derby, the Kentucky, and the Preakness. The Belmont then becomes the biggest horse race. The Code of Honor's done. I can't do it. Win. I could see that in the newspaper. I'm not saying he's going to, but he is peaking at the right time. That's very important to me. And he's run on slop. He hasn't run excellent on slop, but he seems like a horse that's getting better. That's what I have on Win. And he's a big horse. I'll take the big horse if you're looking for another long shot. Win has an opportunity, in my eyes, to hit the board. Maybe not win the race, but maybe hit that third or fourth or get lucky and get the second. Up next, you got Master Fencer. Master Fencer's the Japanese horse. I don't like horses that travel a lot. Okay, I know that you have to make your way throughout the country, but they had to ship him from another country and get him over here and get him comfortable in the elements. Right? How does a horse feel? And I know that we're talking about horse feelings here, but how would you feel if you had to do all that travel and now you have to exercise in a country you're not familiar with? Animals pick up on that stuff. And I know it's not, this race isn't totally about instinct, and these horses had excellent breeding, right? Unicorn 101. Do you think he'll get 1 through 10? I don't know what that, 1 through 10. Do I think Win gets 1 through 10? I don't know. He's an all right horse. Yeah, he'll probably hit 10th. Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. All right, Unicorn 101. I'll say Win gets 1 through 10. That I'll say. I say he's better than half the field. I think he's a decent horse peaking at the right time. And if you're looking to really, pull a long shot in, he's a horse that's peaking at a good time. All right, so up next, right, we've got Master Fencer, no chance. Game Winner. Everybody loves Game Winner. Okay? Everybody loves Game Winner. I don't like Game Winner. I'm going to tell you why. I like when horses race against each other in other grade 1 races and they win. That proves to me strength of horse. Okay? And Game Winner raced against Roadster. It was a couple races ago. It was a grade 1 race. And Game Winner looked really good. but he's not faster than Roadster. Roadster burned him at the end of it. You go on YouTube, you go on here, and you type in Roadster versus Game Winner and just watch. He didn't have enough speed at the end. And this is a longer race than those two were in. So Game Winner, I have Game Winner doing well in this race. Okay, do I think he's the absolute favorite? I don't. I don't. I think your favorite was Omaha Beach, and he's gone. Okay, and I don't think Game Winner's the second best horse. Next, I think you get Roadster. If this was going to be a clean track, okay, if it was going to be a clean track, which it is not, I would pick Roadster to win this race. Because as we talked about earlier, he was a turf horse. And before he had to have the surgery that Omaha Beach is having now on his breathing apparatus, right? Bob Baffert thought out of the three, out of Improbable, Game Winner, and Roadster, he thought Roadster was his star. That means something to me because he's the trainer. He knows what horse is the best. Right? You obviously you work with, if you're a manager at a company, right? You know which coworkers get the best things done. Okay, and he thought Roadster was the best. So I think Roadster's better than Game Winner. But again, he's never raced on a bad track. Yeah, okay, Unicorn 1. You think Roadster's definitely going to get far, maybe 1 through 5. And that's a possibility. My only concern is that he was a turf horse. And then because he wasn't faster than the other turf horses, they moved him to dirt. Okay, so they moved him to dirt, and he was a Roadster. Okay, and he's definitely faster than Game Winner, but I don't know. This is what I don't know. These are questions that you have to have. I don't know if he's going to be comfortable in the conditions. If it was going to be a clean track, I think your favorite in this race is Roadster. And if you want to bet on Roadster, that's fine. That's a good bet. There's nothing wrong with it. His Brisnet numbers are high. He's the best Bob Baffert horse on a clean track. Totally 100%. I agree with you. Is he going to hit 1 through 5? Yeah, you could say he hits 1 through 5. I think he'll be fast enough and he'll last long enough. And I think he kicks well. That's the other thing. You know, he can keep on the pace and kick well. That's very important. For me, at least, but we're trying to win money, so I think Roadster's okay. Not next up, we've got Long Range Toddy. He's an okay horse. You know, there's nothing to write home about. Okay, Unicorn 101 says he might be better on the normal track though, because he didn't do well on the rough track. Right, that's my problem. Is that he doesn't. Roadster's never raced on a bad track. So maybe he's awesome on a bad track. I'm just not going to put my money on a maybe. I just don't know. There's plenty of questions to all of this, right? There's no perfect answer here. You know, maybe he'll do better. Maybe he'll still keep that speed. Maybe he won't. I don't, you know, you got, what else do you have? Spin-offs next. I'm not fancy with, I don't think spin-off is great. And the next one, we have Country House. Now, Country House was originally coming from the 20th row. Okay, Country House is a big horse. He's a good horse. I don't know if he's a great horse. He is peaking. Right now, he's in the 18th spot. Right, so does that, being in a little bit closer, can Country House, this is my question now because he's a little bit closer to the pack. I don't even care about spin-off, and I don't care about Long Range Toddy. But can Country House, Game Winner, and Roadster kind of move their way to the front? Those are my three that I think. I have Country House as a long shot since we're breaking this down and we're trying to win money, right? So I think your real horses. Okay, here's your real horses. Okay, and write them down if you guys want to. Okay, and then we'll break this down after that. Your real horses are War of Will, if he can get off the rail. He can race in these elements. Okay, after that, you have Improbable, who seems to thrive in these elements. Like, if it was a clean track, he'd be bored. He's a weird horse. He's a horse of a different color. That's what Improbable is. He's very difficult. Okay, and he doesn't train. He doesn't listen to his trainer. So maybe, you just get on the back of him and he goes to the front and he wins wire to wire. I don't know. But he's a real contender. Maximum Security is a real contender. Tacitus is a big horse. He's going to be around at the end. Okay, I don't like the Plu Q Parfait. I don't like Cutting Humor. I don't like Code of Honor. Win. I think has a long shot possibility. I think you're two Bob Baffert horses. You liked Roadster, and I do like Roadster as well. He's definitely got the speed. He's faster than Game Winner. Game Winner's a bigger horse, but Roadster's faster. So it all depends on how he's going to be ridden. Right? And then you have Country Horse or Country House as my long shot at the end. Here's what I'm betting. This is what I'll be betting. I'm not going to make a lot of bets. I'm not going to get crazy with my wagers because I like to bet and hold winning tickets. That's what I like to do. Right? My most importance is holding winning tickets. So I'll bet 2 that I think I can win and 1 a little radical. Here's what I'm betting. It's where my money's going to go. I'm going to exact a box. Maximum Security and Improbable. They're the only 2 horses that have had any real success in sloppy weather. Any real success. Not that you've just raced in one of those races. That doesn't matter to me. Right? Improbable took second only to the horse, Omaha Beach, that's not in this race and on a sloppy track. And he looked good. Maximum Security is undefeated. He's undefeated. When Bob Baffert was asked about Maximum Security, obviously he's a trainer. You can't bet on Omaha. Unicorn 1, you can't bet on Omaha Beach because he got scratched. He was the best horse in this race. He was, because Mike Smith went from Roadster, who he thought was the best horse, and then he saw Omaha Beach, and he's like, that's a much better horse. So he jumped ship, but he had a throat breathing issue. He was coughing, I believe, while he was breezing on, Wednesday. So they went and they examined him, and he has to get surgery. So he's scratched. He was the best horse who was scratched. So you can't, he is a great horse. Absolutely 110%. But he's not going to race in this race. That's why we're kind of trying to deduce, figure out, where we're going to place our money now. And who knows? Maybe if he was in this race, Maximum Security would have beaten him. Maximum Security, Bob Baffert said, is a real contender. And he's a trainer. And he trains the best. He trained American Pharoah, Triple Crown winner. He trained Justify, American Crown winner. I'm not saying Maximum Security is that, but he just went to the Florida Derby and won wire to wire. Like, that's nothing to be laughed at, a wire to wire victory. Not for me, at least. And Improbable seems to thrive when things are difficult. He likes it. He's sick. That horse is nuts. Right, so I'm gonna exact a box so they don't have to come in perfect order because I'm boxing them. That's what I mean. Do I think Maximum Security? I think Maximum Security is gonna win the race. That's my. I think he has enough. I think he has enough will. I think he's a strong enough horse. He was bought very cheap, and people kind of have given up on him. And just when they were about to let him go, he became something. A lot of his story reminds me of Seattle Slew a bit. He was the underdog. Nobody thought much of him. He didn't get a lot of press. And then when the biggest horses went up against him, he crushed them because you didn't believe in him. I think Maximum Security is going to win this race. That's what I'm going to say. I think Maximum Security is going to win the race. I think Improbable is going to be there. But Improbable I think when he gets challenged, that's when he has his biggest problems. So I think it's going to be 1-2 with those two because they run the best in the slop. My trifecta bet. Okay, if you guys want to get a little crazy, my trifecta will be Maximum Security, obviously, Improbable, and I'm going to add Tacitus. And I'm going to add Tacitus because he's a big horse. I mean, the mud's not going to bother him, and his breeding is excellent. He's going to kick well. So he's going to be there at the end. He'll probably be in 5th coming down the stretch, right? And then those 2 other horses are tire, whoever else is there, and then he'll kind of edge ahead. I actually think the other horse that'll be there, because he's a bigger horse, I think Game Winner and Roadster are going to be there. I think Roadster's going to fall off because he's just not going to like the track for that long underneath his feet. Remember, he's a turf horse. So I think Game Winner's going to be there. And I think Tacitus is going to pass him just at the end. So if you were going to bet 4 horses, if you're going to bet something past the trifecta, right? I think your best horses are Maximum Security, Improbable, Tacitus, and Game Winner. But everybody's going to bet Game Winner to win because they think he's the favorite. I actually don't think he's the favorite. Like when I sat here and broke all this down, Maximum Security's undefeated on a good track, on a fast track, on a fair track, on a sloppy track. He's the best horse that no one's mentioning. So that's what I think about the Kentucky Derby. You guys place your bets any way you like it. Folks, I'm Jack Neary. That was Shot of Jack. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching me. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'm going to post these, once a week or twice a week on various topics. I would love if you subscribed, if you had a decent time watching this. I hope you have winning tickets tomorrow. That's what I did this for. I want you guys to have winning tickets, and I want everybody to make a couple bucks on this, and they could feel excited like they were a part of it. That's what I feel every year when I watch the Kentucky Derby and I cash a winning ticket. I feel like, that a boy, you did, Jackie boy, you did something good, huh? You figured out a winner. Unicorn 101. Thanks so much for your questions and sticking around with me. I do really appreciate that. But that's what I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna bet Maximum Security because I think that's the horse to beat. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys.